Hello, brothers and sisters, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having a great week. We're going to do something that we haven't done for the last couple weeks on the channel. We're going to talk about some football. I'm joined once again by my father, and he is going to help us preview and break down the matchup between the Buffalo Bills and the Arizona Cardinals. The Buffalo Bills coming off a huge win against Seattle, where they convincingly took care of business against Russell Wilson, whereas Arizona's coming off a very tight loss on an unprecedented missed field goal to lose the game to the very intriguing Miami Dolphins.
Well, that's unprecedented unless Stephen Hauschka is kicking.
He missed 48 yards, and he missed it short.
Yeah.
Have you seen the kick? It went down the middle. It was right down the middle, but it was short.
I have not seen the kick. So,
it was crazy.
yeah,
You should see.
They need Tyler Bass. So I just want to say I'm not wearing a Buffalo Bills shirt today, and that is because I'm honoring my 3-0 Indiana Hoosiers, who are in second place in the Big Ten East and on their way to the Rose Bowl with their first top 10 ranking in 51 years.
Yeah, before we talk about the game, I just want to say I've watched some of the Indiana games, and they have looked quite impressive. They beat Penn State, which is not a small win at all.
That was a thrilling win.
Yeah, big. It's an exciting time to be a fan of the Hoosiers as well as the Buffalo Bills. And before we get into this game, I want to ask you, how do we feel about where the Bills stand right now in the last game before the bye?
Oh, I think they're in great position. I wish they were. I kind of wish Miami wasn't sneaking up on them a little bit, but I still think they're better than Miami. And I think if you would have told me 7-2 after 9 games, I would have been thrilled. And even after they lost the 2 games to Tennessee and Kansas City, I looked at the next 3 which was the Patriots, the Seahawks, and the Cardinals, and I said 2 out of the next 3 will be good.
Yeah.
And now here they are with a chance to sweep.
I think people feel a lot better after the Seahawks game than they did before the Seahawks game. The Bills weren't winning very convincingly against some inferior opponents the last couple weeks, but they really dominated that game against Seattle. I don't think the final score really indicates how in control they were throughout that game.
I would agree with that. It was nice to see them kind of opening up the offense a little bit again. I think that one of the things that they fell into, especially in those 4 games where they struggled, was for some reason they thought they needed to run the ball more, and I don't understand that. I looked at the game. You look at the game against Seattle, and one of the ways they were able to stay in front in that game and keep doing the things they wanted to do is they kept throwing it. They got into trouble against the Rams when they got the big lead, and they decided that they wanted to milk the clock and run the ball a little bit, and they couldn't.
Yeah.
And then for some reason against Tennessee and against the Jets especially, it was we want to run the ball. We want to run the ball. I don't understand that. That is not the strong point of this offense.
So let's look ahead now to Sunday, where the Bills head out to the desert in Arizona to take on the Cardinals. And the Cardinals are a very interesting team. I think I got on the hype train of this team before everybody else did. I had them pegged as a dark horse playoff contender before the season started, and they're right in that mix right now. They're an interesting team.
They are an interesting team. Murray looks terrific.
Yeah.
I mean, I was skeptical when they made him the first pick in the draft, but he looks terrific, and he looks like he's the real deal. To me, the Cardinals game looks a lot like the Seahawks game. You can score on them, but they're going to score on you. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
That's true. It's going to be a very similar game. I think you're going to see a very similar game plan for the Bills against the Cardinals. They're going to try to open up the passing game a little bit, try to spread vertically, and try to carve up a secondary that not only hasn't been very good for the Cardinals this season, but is also really banged up right now. And they look like they might be getting some guys back this week, but they're numbers-wise, the Cardinals haven't been great in the passing game this year, defending the air.
Yeah, and I mean, when that Buffalo passing game is clicking on all cylinders, they're tough. I mean, Diggs is having a fantastic season. John Brown looks like he's back to where he was before he got hurt. Beasley is solid underneath. They're getting the running backs involved in the passing game. Tyler Kroft makes a catch every now and then. I mean, when that passing game is going, they're awesome.
Yeah, the Stephon Diggs trade right now is looking like a masterstroke on the part of Brandon Beane right now. He's leading the league in receptions and reception yards as we record this video. And you touched on it, but I don't think it could be understated just how important having John Brown in this, a 100% John Brown in this lineup is, because I think one of the things that you could point to when the Bills were struggling the last 4 weeks going into last Sunday was that they weren't. John Brown was either missing time or playing hurt, and that kind of limited them a little bit more in the passing attack.
I think that's definitely true, but I really think that there was an article in the Buffalo paper here, not this week, and one of the things that I think was limiting them in the passing attack too was Allen's left shoulder was not healthy, and it was affecting the way he was throwing the ball. So that could have had something to do with it. Certainly not having Brown had something to do with it. So I think maybe just those two things mixed together, because they certainly looked like they had things going against the Seahawks. Not that the Seahawks are exactly the 85 Bears on defense, but
well, I told you when we did our season preview, you thought that would be a tough game, and I was saying their defense isn't what it used to be.
It definitely is not. It's nowhere near what it used to be.
Yeah, they've been, the Seahawks have been terrible defensively all season. But I want to talk about Buffalo's defense real quick because their struggles throughout the year have been well documented. They've had some high-profile injuries to some pretty key players. But they have not been the Buffalo defense that we've come to know, which is why I think you got to be very encouraged by the fact that they were able to turn over Russell Wilson 4 times last week.
Yes, and I am encouraged by that. I think they're going to need to turn over Murray also, although he doesn't throw a lot of interceptions.
Yeah.
But Cardinals have got weapons too, and they are going to move the ball and they're going to score. You need to get stops in the red zone. And you need to turn them over a little bit.
Yeah.
And, I don't think you can blitz them like they blitzed Wilson last week.
Right.
But we'll see what happens. He's got, it's kind of funny that they're comparable to me. I mean, Metcalf and Hopkins are similar. And then you've got Fitzgerald and Lockett. Although the Bills did a great job on Lockett.
Yeah, Lockett was very limited to, I think, like 3 catches maybe in that game.
And none of any consequence.
Yeah. The thing I'm most encouraged by the Bills is not only the 4 turnovers from Seattle, but you saw big players on that defense who have kind of been struggling this season finally step up and make plays. Trey White by far had his best game of the season last week. Tremaine Edmonds is finally starting to look like himself again after being less than 100% for the majority of this season. And Jerry Hughes has been a wrecking ball on the edge for the last 3 weeks now. You're starting to finally get the level of production that you need from pretty important guys on that defense, and I think you can I think that's an encouraging sign for things to come because they do have the players to be better than what they've been on defense this year.
Everybody, when that schedule came out, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, NFC West, that's going to be tough for the Bills," and it looked like it was going to be, but with a win on Sunday, they would have a very real chance to sweep those 4 games, and I don't think anybody could have predicted that.
Yeah, well, not like I said, you do see the schedule start to soften up from here. The Niners are looking very banged up. But after that, you got the Chargers who are below 500. You got the Broncos who look dead in the water right now, and you got the Patriots and Dolphins who you've beaten already. So you're set up pretty nicely if you go into the bye week with a win under your belt here at 8-2.
I would agree that, but it is a tough game.
It's a very tough game, and the thing that concerns me about this is I do feel like the Cardinals have a little bit more to play for in this game. They're in a very tough division, and they're legitimately in the conversation to win that division right now. But in such a competitive division, they, one loss could be the difference between them making the playoffs and not making the playoffs. And this is also a team that, let's not forget, also beat the Seahawks and were able to beat a Niners team that was relatively healthy back in week 1. So this Cardinals team is not to be taken lightly. I don't feel as confident saying that this is a game that the Bills should win. I think they will win it, but I wouldn't say that this is one of those games that the Bills should win.
Well, no, I wouldn't say it's a big game that they should win either. But it's a tough game because the Cardinals' offense can get away from you in a big hurry. Honestly, I'm probably about 50-50 on their chances. I think that they can win, and like I said, when that offense is rolling like it did last week, they are really tough to stop. But the Cardinals are tough to stop too, and they score. I think probably the biggest difference in the game will be the Bills will be scoring a few more touchdowns, and maybe they can keep the Cardinals out of the end zone and make them kick field goals. So I'll pick the Bills in a high-scoring, close game. Maybe the last team to get the ball wins.
Yeah, I'm picking the Bills too, mainly because I agree with the reasons what you said, but also the last, you look at the games that they have lost, they've been close wins, last second losses, and I don't know if Arizona has shown you that they're the type of team that you can trust to go down the field in a 2-minute drill and go and win a game. I think they might be a year out from that. And the Bills have shown that they can be that team. They showed it against the Rams. They showed it time and again last season. I think, and they showed it against the Patriots too. They were able to stay and make a big play down the stretch when it looked like the Patriots were driving on them. So I trust the Bills more if this were to be a game where you needed, where you had the ball last and you need to go down and score a late touchdown to win the game. I think the Bills are more trustworthy as that kind of team in this game, and that's why I'm going with the Buffalo Bills to go 8-2 heading into the bye week and take a stranglehold on the division.
Which I would agree with that. With everything you just said there. I think the Bills will win too. I am not as it's a tough one though. I could see it going the other way.
Yeah, I'm not going. Believe me, I'm not going into this game thinking that this is going to be a blowout. I think the Cardinals are frisky. I think they will play them tough, but you look at the team on paper. I do think Buffalo has the better overall roster. I think if the Bills can carry over their strong defensive performance from last week into this week, then they'll be just fine. But yeah, I think the Bills still have the better team. I think the Cardinals are just a season behind where the Bills are right now. I think we can leave it at that. We're both picking the Bills to beat the Cardinals and go 8-2. But other than that, my name is Matthew. I'm joined once again by my dad. Thank you very much for joining me to break down this game.
Pleasure to be here.
Hope you all enjoy the game on Sunday. Have a blessed week. If you'd like to like this video and share it, we would be very appreciative of that. But other than that, have a blessed week. And as always, go Bills.
Go IU.